My mother had drug problems, and there were issues of neglect and abuse and stuff. When I was about 9 years old was when I was taken into custody. The very first home we were together. Me, my brother, and my sister were in a home together. And then after that, we were separated. My brother and my sister both got adopted, and I was the only one who hadn't gotten adopted. My brother and sister had only gone through 2 homes. I went through about 12 before I got put in the Home for Little Wanderers. I always knew that I was a bit of a problem child because I was being moved around so much.
Brett would find himself in Roxbury House, the Home for Little Wanderers residence for adolescent boys. Program Director Lavette Pitts found in Brett what she often does in her young charges.
He was really, really scared. I think that was the biggest concern for him, is not knowing.
At that point, I'd kind of given up hope as to where I was going to end up because I felt like that was where I was going to be.
Screaming was his thing. Screaming and hiding under his imaginary Harry Potter blanket was kind of how he dealt with a lot of his anger.
Brett struggled with his feelings, but not his studies. Under that imaginary invisibility cloak and behind the Harry Potter glasses was a mind that achieved the second highest score on Boston's exam school test.
He really got Joan's attention because he was so smart. So, she said to me, Lavette, maybe we can see about possibly getting him in private school.
So keep this out right now. We're going to go through it.
Finding a good school is a lot easier than finding the right school. The first call went to Noble and Greeno's Jennifer Hines.
Ultimately, if a school is serious about being a welcoming, diverse community, you're looking for the kids who will help you to fulfill that mission in all the different ways that you can.
But there were a couple of problems. Admissions were already closed, and all funds had been distributed. Brett may have fit the bill, but there was no space and nobody to foot the bill either. That's when Jen Hines got another call, this one from the parents of a rising freshman.
The family was going to need to relocate, which meant that suddenly we had a space in a class and we had funds available to give.
Your voices swirl and welcome me, hear me in this anthem sweet.
I was very excited to be given this opportunity. I was also very apprehensive about it because I had thought that, and I was told that, statistically DSS kids are doomed to fail, basically, because they're in a situation that isn't conducive to opportunities like Nobles and like higher education and stuff like that.
I lay to rest my troubled face and breathe deep this amazing grace.
He was always a good kid, but he came with a lot of shyness, a lot covered up, and he had a lot of gaps in his educational background.
Originally, I was very introverted, and I was still that kid in the corner who was doing his homework and not really talking to people.
The minute he started to get a handle on things here, he began to grow, and he started uncovering layer after layer, and he just became more Brett.
'Cause we are all familiar now, we're in each other's blood somehow.
I started to build up a small circle of friends, and it slowly built as I got involved with things that I was interested in, like dance and theater. It's really kind of a journey of self-discovery and appreciation, because I appreciate life a lot more than I did when I was a kid. You create strong connections with people that are here, and you kind of accumulate a family along the way.
A family that has more in common than you might imagine.
I was in a lot of homes in my life too, and was finally adopted at 18 by my grandparents.
I will never be a stranger, I will never be alone.
Recently, Brett's family expanded even more. The boy who used to wish he was invisible took center stage as he was adopted by his longtime mentor, Brad Braufman.
Knowing him really, really changed me because he is kind of an opposite of me. He's a big extrovert. I really thought of him as a friend, and I still do. I don't really think of him as I do think of him as my dad, and I refer to him as my dad, but I still call him Brad because he'll always be my friend.
So raise a glass and gather round, toast the night and friendships found.
Tomorrow, Brett Adam will receive his diploma, official recognition that he has successfully completed his studies. But he's also taught us a few things along the way.
If anything, it's made me, and I think the folks that I work with as well, open our eyes a little bit wider.
He just kind of reminds you, like, you can't save them all, but you can't give up either.
Brett has a funny way of not seeing anything as a huge negative. He came from a lot, but he gives a lot back. The sky's the limit for this kid.
Sometime soon this road may part, mine may end where you'll start.
I've wanted to be here on this earth a lot more because every day is enjoyable now as opposed to what it was before.
I'm losing a son. But that's a good thing.
Wherever we are is home.